All right, it looks like we are streaming. Let me just double check. Are we not streaming anymore? We are streaming. All right, cool. So let me just get into my control room so I can see everything here. So appreciate you guys' patience. It has taken us a little bit of time to figure out this new update here, but overall, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good one. Yeah, I can see myself. Cool. All right, guys. So welcome to the Futures Midday Update here from TradePro Academy headquarters. My name is Mark, and I am one of the futures and FX traders here at TradePro Academy. And also here to give you guys a helping hand, guiding hand in these markets today and every day. We're in here every morning. Georgie does our YouTube the morning update at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and I jump on here at 12 p.m. Noon time to give you guys a kind of a wrap up of, not a wrap up, but a check on what we did throughout the morning session and what we've got scheduled into the remainder of the session. So let me just pull up the remainder of my stuff here. This new YouTube thing has got my flow a little bit off, but that's not a problem. We'll get back in here. This does give me a chance to let you guys know to say hello, to pop on in, say hello. Do not see all of the comments in here just yet. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. First and foremost, some of the news drivers that we had overnight. Georgie kind of covered those. The majority is basically looking at China's peg on the US dollar, not the peg, but their fix on the US dollar for their Chinese yuan. The PBOC's daily yuan fixing coming in better than expected kind of helped soothe market nerves and spark a modest relief rally in stocks and currencies. And we're kind of seeing a follow through on that into this morning session. Throughout the US session, we did have a couple of economic updates. We did have initial jobless claims, which came out at 209,000 versus 215,000 expected. Bit of a miss on that front. And continuing claims came in at 1.68 million versus 1.69 million expected. Also, we did have the US, we had the weekly EIA natural gas inventory numbers. The expected indicated range was 57 to 59 billion cubic feet. Came in just below that range at 55 billion cubic feet. So that's what we had out of the US session. Also, we had President Trump reiterating his criticism of the Fed, saying that he's not thrilled with our very strong dollar. Surpreeks. That should not really come as a surprise to anybody, that Mr. Trump does not like a strong dollar. So that's what we've kind of got throughout the session. Looking at the calendar for the remainder of the session and not really seeing anything of any key importance. Let me get the low impact stuff on here, see if anything else is up there. Yes, we got a 30-year bond auction at 1:01 p.m. Eastern out of the US, and that is a low impact event. So not really too much to look forward to as far as economic news. We do pick up tomorrow with the US. We do have medium impact news. We have core PPI month over month figures and the PPI month over figures at 8:30 a.m. Until then, really, a squawk is your best friend when there is no scheduled economic releases. Squawk really becomes super important to have because you might have anybody coming up, Lighthizer, Trump, one of the respective parties from China. Any updates with regards to that China-US trade dispute that can drive the markets, and really any Fed speak. There's no Fed speakers on the agenda today, so we shouldn't get any volatility on the back of that. But trading squawk will be super important to have going into the remainder of today's session. So with that being said, let me jump into my charts here, get this thing off of my face, and get you guys onto the Sierra Charts platform. So that is what you guys should be seeing very shortly. And we'll continue on from there. So There is a little bit of a delay in this, guys, so you guys won't be seeing it exactly as I am talking about it, but you can always throw in your questions, anything you have in the chat. Make sure to interact. That's the whole point of these things. We want to talk to you guys. We want you guys to let us know what we're doing right, what you want to see more of, and to go from there. So on the charts right now, we are seeing some quote board. We are seeing the quote board right here. The highlighted number is your S&P 500, which has about 1 million contracts traded so far on the session. Pretty good number. Daily change percentage up also 1.61%. Your crude oil has around 489,000 contracts, and we are up 2.99% on from the previous day close. And again, crude caught a bit of a bid overnight on the back of that Saudi announcement that Saudi was calling their OPEC contacts and mentioning that they will not tolerate further slide in the crude oil prices. So a bit of a bid on the back of that, and that's kind of what we're seeing here on the quote board. As far as volume is concerned, pretty good volume, relative to what we were seeing the last couple of weeks. Obviously, there's not as much volatility and volume as we did have earlier in this week. However, still not bad. We are seeing pretty good direction out of the SPUs. SPUs are chugging along higher, but it is quite a difficult market to get into just because the pullbacks aren't really that deep, so to speak. The very short, aggressive pullbacks, and the higher this thing chugs along, it just becomes more and more difficult to qualify, pullback trade this high up. Seeing the fact that we haven't really had a nice deep pullback, and we are getting kind of extended away from our VWAPs, which has me thinking, even though we are climbing higher, I'm kind of thinking into the afternoon we kind of par some of those gains and kind of start doing a reversion to the mean. Your mean would be your VWAPs, and your VWAPs are just below the 2904. So kind of a big way away for that. But like I said in the room, the further these guys go away from the VWAPs without a real pullback, right? You guys are seeing on this chart, not very many deep pullbacks. You're just getting 1 or 2 10-tick rotations, and that's going to stop at some point, and it's not going to look pretty. All right, and so the more this thing kind of just chops and grinds its way on up, further it's getting away from the VWAPs, the more likely it becomes that you're going to get a deeper pullback, because anybody that's been long today, there hasn't really been any reason to get out of that trade. You haven't really had any deep pullbacks. So a majority of traders, what they do is if you get a good position in the lower end of a trade, they will trail their stop losses above previous swing highs and swing lows. And so far, we have not really seen any moves that kind of take out previous swing lows, hence the aggressive trend, right? So once you get that first test that breaks the previous swing low, you can imagine anybody that's been short or been long from this VWAP, from this breakout, really anywhere along this whole ride, their stops are likely going to be below those previous swing lows. So once you get that first breakdown below the swing lows, which we haven't seen yet, that's when the selling is likely going to get aggressive, and that is not a dip that you want to be buying. What you'd like to do in that case is wait for that dip below that previous swing low. You're going to get some aggressive selling. Look for that rotation, that first rotation up that gets sunk by the sellers. That is your go time. That is when the sellers are back in control. That's when you can start looking for selling. At this point, you're fading into a rising rocket. Not the best way to make money in the markets. Easy way to blow out your account. So you got to be patient on this. Long trades are okay. However, not really liking it anymore, just because I haven't seen a deep pullback, and that deep pullback is going to keep me out of getting long at this point. So that's all I've got for that part. On the SPUs, kind of doing a bit differently than normal, but that's okay. Crude oil, you have your pivot here. We are just above the pivot. We are coming on the back of a pretty bearish trend, and we are coming into previous resistance here. This was your S1 yesterday. Now it's kind of acting as resistance today. These 5280s or so are acting as resistance. So we're kind of talking in the room that there was an opportunity to go short. We were just looking at a potential transition back down, and we did get that. It was kind of starting to look a bit bullish on the back of that high volume, and this candle here We did qualify, I think we qualified an idea somewhere around these 70s, 71s for potential press back up to the overnight high. Didn't quite get there, but we like to pay ourselves for the idea. So majority of the traders should have taken plus ones, plus twos on those. But the overall trend is kind of starting to form out. This is what we were saying. It's just a return back to this overnight high, continuation press down to the view app. Now that we're at the view app, actually this is not showing you anything. There we go. So this is what I was talking about here. We did have an opportunity. We did try some longs up in here since it was kind of getting a little bit dicey. Trend was still up. However, at these 70s, 71s, we were saying if you do get them in there between these 68s to these 70s, look to cover that risk, get your stop to break even plus one, plus two, just because it's a transitory, environment that we're in, kind of in the middle of structure. So you just want to get paid for the idea. You don't want to take a full stop on something like this when you're kind of stuck within that range. And hopefully that's what our guys did as I signed out. And now, you guys are seeing right back down at the view app at the open. This was a level that we did see a breakout from. And so this is a level we could see some potential support from for another press up into these highs, just to get rid of some of these late longs up into the party up there. So that's what we're seeing on crude. We did hold the overnight high, which is pretty interesting to see. We did break above that structure, and just the fact that overall market structure is bearish, this kind of has the feeling that we want to kind of continue lower. And so that's kind of what we'd be watching to do. At this point, the fact that we rotated off of these overnight highs and pressed lower has me kind of thinking we might want to continue lower. So at this point, you could look for support in here for a continuation to the overnight highs, but I would be a little bit cautious aiming for a breakout above those highs. If you do catch something long here, I'd look to get paid at the overnight highs, since this is a level where I might be looking to short if we get back up into there for a continuation lower. So that's kind of what we got on crude. S&P, we are coming into R2. Maybe this is the level that gives us that pullback that we're looking for. Who knows? This thing's just kind of been chugging along higher today. Your R2 comes in at the 29.33, we'll call it 29.3320 level. So just about where you are seeing majority of these offers, just a little bit higher than that, right around these 33s there. So no real deep pullback yet, but that's kind of what I'll be watching for. R2 might be the one that gives us that nice pullback that starts triggering these sell stops from everybody trailing all the way up and starts the pullback that we are looking for. So that's what we got for you guys today. Let me pull up our TradePro Performance Index, give you guys an idea of how our team did today in the live markets. And we will sign off on that note. So let me hide this thing and throw this guy on there for you guys. So shortly, you guys will be seeing a Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet is titled TradePro Performance Index. And what it does is effectively tracks the performance of our community. Our head day traders don't vote on this thing. So this is a true number of what our community is achieving on a daily basis. So August has come off to a very strong start. Finished this part, today's day at 66% positive. 45 were up, 21 were flat, and 34 were down. 34% were down on the session overall, giving us 66.04% positive. So great result. Strongest average we've had, I think, since we started recording these results from last September. So we'll look to keep this average. We'll see if we can close out above 70%. That would be awesome leading into September. So that's basically all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy this one. First time back on the channel here after that little YouTube update, but I think you guys should be enjoying this. It is a little bit delayed, which is all right, but that's kind of what you got to work with when you make changes like this. So thank you guys so much for popping in here. I can't see how many of you guys are actually in here anymore. So you guys caught a bit of a break. But until next time, until tomorrow, if you will be trading the remainder of today's session, you know our 3 rules. patience, diligence, and discipline. Until then, guys, good luck and good trading. Take care, everyone.